Okay guys, so today we're going to be working on multiplying a monomial by a polynomial. Okay, we know the prefix mono means one, so come on. And then poly, the prefix poly means many, and I'll show you more what that means here in a second. Oops. Okay, first thing I want to make sure we understand the differences is the difference between x plus x and x times x. So the difference between x plus x and x times x. Remember, a variable just stands for any number. In this case, I'm going to let x be 3. All right, so let's do it. 3 plus 3 equals 6. But what about 3 times 3? 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, and students mix these up all the time, and not necessarily with numbers, but when you throw variables in there, they mix it up. And so I just want to show you how much of a difference it actually is. 3 plus 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so 3 plus 3, the same thing, another way that we can write 6 is 2 times 3. That's because we have 2 3's being added together. So multiplication is a quick way of adding. Okay, but here, 3 times 3, another way that I can write 9 is 3 squared. So multiplication is a fast way of doing adding. Exponents is a fast way of doing multiplication. So therefore, x plus x would be the same thing as having 2 x's. So if you have one x and you add another x, now you have 2 total x's. So if I have x times x, that's the same thing as writing x squared, because I have 2 x's being multiplied together. So big difference. X plus x is 2 x's. X times x is x squared. All right, so let's jump into some examples. All right, on this first one, notice that there is no equal sign, so I can't solve it. So all I'm doing is simplifying. All right, y'all see how there's no equal sign? So I can't solve it, but I can simplify. I see parentheses, which means I'm going to have to distribute this -3. Distribution means multiply. So this is a monomial out front of the parentheses. You see how it's only one term? Inside the parentheses, we have a polynomial because you have 2 different terms, poly, many. Okay, so let's multiply. I have -3 times x. Well, -3 times x is -3x. Then I'm going to take that -3 and I'm going to multiply it by that -7. -3 times a -7 is a positive 21. Let me write this x a little nicer. Okay, and I know I have to stop here because I can no longer combine anything. This one has a variable, this one does not. So I can't combine if they're not like terms. All right, let's try number 2. I have a monomial out front because it's only one term. In the inside of the parentheses, I have a polynomial because there's many things in there. All right, so let's go ahead and distribute, which means multiply. 4 times b squared is 4b squared. Then I'm going to take 4 and multiply it by 2b. It's going to give me a positive 8b. And then finally, I'm going to take this 4 and multiply it by -3. 4 times -3 is a -12. Okay, I know I have to stop here because I have b squareds, I have b's, and then I have constants, regular numbers. None of those are like terms, so I can't combine anything else. That's as far as I can go. All right, so out front of my parentheses, I have my -5, so let's go ahead and distribute that. -5 times -2w squared. I know a negative times a negative is a positive, so that's going to give me a positive 10w squared. Then I'm going to take that -5 and multiply it by -6w. Well, I know that -5 times a -6 is a positive 30, and I'm not going to forget my w. And then finally, -5 times positive 5. It's going to give me a -25. And that's as far as I can go because I see w squareds, I see w's, and I see constants, the regular numbers. None of those are alike, so I can't combine them. I have to stop. All right, so now we're going to get into the using this guy, x plus x versus x times x. So on this one, I have 3k times k. So 3k times k is going to be 3k squared, because k times k is k squared. Okay, now I'm going to have this 3k, and I'm going to multiply it by 2. 3k times 2 is a positive 6k. And I can't go any further because this one says k squared, this one says k. They are not alike, so I cannot combine them. All right, so now I have to distribute my 4h. So I'm going to take 4h times 3 over 4h. Well, sometimes when there's a lot of stuff going on, I like to focus on just the numbers, and then I'll focus on my variables. So first of all, 4 times 3/4 is 3. H times h is h squared. So 4h times 3/4 h gives me 3h squared. Okay, now I'm going to take this 4h and I'm going to multiply it by 2. 4h times 2 is a positive 8h. And I have to stop there because this is h squared. This is regular h's. So those are not alike. I can't combine them. Okay, on 6 it says Jacob drew a floor plan for his living room as shown below and wants to know what is the area is the key word. Well, we know area equals length times width, and your area is the stuff on the inside. That's area. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to take this guy and multiply them. So I'm going to have 5x times, parentheses means times, 2x minus 3. We have a monomial, this is one term, and I'm multiplying it by a polynomial. We always put polynomials in parentheses. So I'm going to take this 5x and I'm going to multiply it by 2x. So there's a lot going on, so let's do numbers first. 5 times 2 is 10. And then worry about your variables. X times x is x squared. Now I'm going to take this 5x and I'm going to multiply it by negative 3. 5x times negative 3 is a negative 15x. Okay, this is as far as we can go because one says x squared, one says x. Those are not like terms, so I cannot combine. All right, let's get a little bigger one. So I see two sets of parentheses, which means we're going to distribute twice. Let's distribute this first. Okay, so there's a lot going on, so let's focus on the numbers and then the variables. 3 times 4/3. 3 times 4/3 is 4. X times x is x squared. So 3x times 4/3 x is 4x squared. Okay, now I'm going to take this 3x and multiply it by 3. 3x times 3 is a positive 9x. You see here how there was two x's, so we said x squared. And between these two guys, there's only one x, so only put one x. Okay, so let's distribute again. Now I'm going to distribute the 5. 5 times 7 over 5x. That's going to give me a positive 7x. And I'm only putting one x because there's only one x between these guys being multiplied. And now I'm going to take 5 and I'm going to multiply it by negative 4. 5 times negative 4 is a negative 20. Notice, guys, I don't have an equal sign anywhere. There was no equal sign given to me, so I'm not going to create one. All right? So all I can do is simplify it. All right, so we're not quite done yet because we do actually have like terms that we can combine. If you look in the middle, we have a positive 9x's, and then we have a positive 7x's. So those are the guys that we can combine. There are no other x squareds. These 4x squareds would just drop down. We had 9x's and 7x's. Since they both have just one x, right? We can combine those because these are alike. 9 plus 7 is 16. So it's going to give me a positive 16x. And then here's my constant, the regular number. There are no other regular numbers, so that minus 20 just drops. Okay, I know I am done because I have x squareds, I have x's, and I have constants, the regular numbers. So all of these are different, so I can't combine them. On this next problem, I have two different sets of parentheses, which means I'll have to distribute twice. So first I'm going to distribute this 2x. So I'm going to take 2x and multiply it by 1/2 x. Well, first I know that 2 times 1/2 is just 1. I know that x times x is x squared. So 2x times 1/2 x is 1x squared. Remember, 1x squared is exactly the same as just saying x squared. Okay, so now I'm going to take this 2x and I'm going to multiply it by -3. 2x times -3 is a -6, and there was only 1x. Okay, now, second set of parentheses, let's distribute this -4. So -4 times 6 is a -24. Then I'm going to take this -4 and I'm going to multiply by -2x. Well, negative times a negative is a positive. -4 times -2x is a positive 8, and there was only 1x. Okay, we're not done simplifying because I do see like terms. I see these -6x's and I see these positive 8x's. Okay, so first we have x squareds. There are no other x squared, so this x squared drops down. X's, we had x's here and here. Those are alike, so we can add them. I see a -6 and a positive 8, so add those numbers together. -6 plus 8 is a positive 2, so we have positive 2x's. And here's my constant. There are no other regular numbers, so this -24 drops down. All right, this is my final answer because I have x squareds, I have x's, and I have constants. They are all different, so I can't combine any of those together. Okay, so I see two different sets of parentheses, so we're going to have to distribute twice. The first thing we're going to have to distribute is this negative. The second time we're going to have to distribute that positive x. Okay, so that leaves this 10 out front. Well, I don't want to mess with him yet, but I can't make him disappear, so that 10 will just drop down in the time being. Okay, remember, when we have a minus sign in front of a parentheses, we treat it as the opposite. So what is the opposite of that positive x in there? A negative x. And what is the opposite of that plus 7? A minus 7. All right, so on the second set, I have to distribute this x. So I'm going to have x times 2x. X times 2x is going to give me a positive 2x squared. And it's x squared because x times x. You see how there's two x's being multiplied together? So x times 2x is 2x squared. All right, now I have to take this x and multiply by -4. X times -4 is a -4x. Okay, we're not done because I have like terms. Regular x's here and here, so we're going to have to combine those together. But to be proper, we do x squareds first, so I see these. There are no other x squareds, so these two x squareds will just drop down. Okay, so let's combine these x's together. Well, this is a -1. This is a -4. So combine means to add. So I'm going to take this -1 and I'm going to add -4. -1 plus -4 gives me a -5. So together I have -5 x's. And then we look for our constants. Here I have, oh, I didn't highlight those. 10 and -7. So I need to add those numbers together. So 10 plus -7 is a positive 3. And that is my final answer because I have x squareds, I have x's, and I have constants. They are all different, so I can't combine those together. Okay, I have 2 sets of parentheses, so I'm going to have to distribute twice. The first time I'm going to have to distribute this -3. The second time I would distribute this positive 6x. Okay, so this 12 is out front, so I don't want it to disappear, and I don't want to do it yet, so I'm just going to drop that 12. And now let's distribute that -3. -3 times x is a -3x. -3 times a -2 is a positive 6, because a negative times a negative is a positive. All right, so now we have to distribute this 6x. So I'm going to have 6x times -2 over 6x. So if there's a lot going on, I like to focus on the numbers and then the variables. So 6 times -2 over 6. That's going to give me a -2. But I also have x times x, which is x squared. So altogether, 6x times -2 over 6x is -2x squared. X times x is x squared. All right, now I'm going to take this 6x and I'm going to multiply it by -3. 6x times -3 is a -18, and there was only one x between these two guys. Only one x. Okay, so now we have to look for our like terms. I see x's here and here. I see constants here and here. So since they're alike, we can add them, combine them. So we always look for x squareds first. I see these guys, but there are no other x squareds. So these -2x squareds drop down. Then we look at x's. I see a -3 here and a -18 here. We add those numbers together. -3 plus -18 is a -21, and those were my x's. And then we have our constants. I have 12 and 6, so we add those. 12 plus 6 is a positive 18. This is my final answer because I see x squareds, I see x's, and I see constants. These are all different, so they're not like terms, so I can't combine them. Okay, what I would like you to do now is pause the video and try these on your own. I'm going to go ahead and work them out for you so you have the answers. But if you would, please pause the video, try these on your own, then go back and press play, and then check your answers, okay? So go ahead and pause it and get to work. Oops, there's the last one. Hopefully y'all did pretty good. All right, later guys.